For more on Ford, joining us right now is Edmunds.com senior analyst Jessica Caldwell. Edmunds.com, by the way, has been named the top auto website by both Forbes and J.D. Power. Jessica, good to have you back with us. So in the battle between incentives and market share, is Ford doing the right thing in your view?
Yeah, it's definitely a tough line to cross, especially when the market is in this recovery mode. I mean, there's a lot of things threatening recovery at this point. But with Ford, they actually increased incentives last month in March, and that really gained them a lot of market share and sales. They were the #1 automaker in the United States. So it does prove that if you do increase incentives, you are going to get more sales, and more market share. But again, they have to make that decision at the company. What is our strategy? Do we want profit? Do we want sales?
So what do they need to do here? I mean, are you saying they're focused on boosting sales and sacrificing profit for that?
Well, it seems to me it's a bit unclear because they have, they really have made a conscious effort to reduce incentives. However, when we saw GM come out of 2011 out of the gate really strong with high incentives, Ford responded by increasing their incentives in March, saying, hey, we're not going to deal with high incentives from GM taking away our business. So I wouldn't say that's a clear message that they're sending because clearly there was some discipline lost there.
But I mean, is CEO Alan Mulally right in saying that that Ford's going to maintain their pricing discipline? Do you think he's right, or is he taking a big risk in your view?
It is, it is a bit risky. They have a lot of new products, which I think is good because if anything is, able to sell at a good price, it's going to be new things. With their new Focus that's coming out, it's hitting the market at the right time as gas prices are high, and the Japanese automakers, which are notoriously good for small cars, are having a lot of issues. So I think with the Focus, they'll be able to do that. Perhaps the Fiesta, which is a subcompact car, but they're not going to be able to do it across the board, I'd say.
What about, we're showing these big trucks because, well, they're so much more fun than the smaller
Ford
ones.
known for their trucks.
And they make more money, obviously, on them. And Ford actually coming out with some new models with the new Expedition, giving a facelift to these things, whereas GM maybe left in the dust a little bit with its older Yukons. Do you think this is really still this company's wheelhouse? I mean, is this really where they make their money still?
Right, the Ford F-150. I mean, the Ford F-Series is the best-selling vehicle lineup in the United States and has been forever. So it's still Ford's bread and butter in terms of total volume, total profit. But SUVs, it's kind of hard to see. I mean, with gas prices forecasted to stay so high throughout the year, not really a lot of relief in sight. There's going to be a lot of less consumer focus on SUVs. You'll still see business customers, fleet customers, but in terms of the retail market, it's going to be tough this year for those big vehicles.
So, I mean, I don't know, bottom line here then, Jessica, I mean, should we be worried about what we're seeing in terms of these numbers from Ford?
Yeah, not necessarily, but I think we should be worried at the market as a whole because there's just so many unpredictable things that can really shock and rock the market that we've seen. I mean, even starting in 2011, I don't think we would have thought a disaster in Japan would affect the market so greatly, but it has. So I think if anything, it's volatile, and you really can't forecast too much in this economy, especially when you're looking at an automotive recovery in terms of sales.
Are there some winners and losers as far as that catastrophe is concerned? I mean, do Ford and GM get a leg up as far as market share on Toyota, for example?
They definitely have the opportunity. Again, right now consumers are looking for small vehicles, fuel-efficient vehicles. So if they continue to push those will do well. We're seeing a lot of strong performance from the South Koreans, Hyundai and Kia. Not only are their cars, small and get good fuel economy, they're also a good value. So we're seeing gains from them. So there definitely is some chances for other automakers to, take market share away from the Japanese.
Jessica, Hey.
No, go ahead.
Thank you. We both have questions to ask for you, but let me just squeeze one in. Jessica, we're spending so much time talking about Ford. Is there something aside with the GM story that maybe we should keep in mind as we kind of focus so much on what's going on here with Ford?
Yeah, I mean, I think GM, like I said before, they had 2 months of really heavy incentives, and they pulled back greatly in March, and so did their market share. Their market share dipped. So I think there is some questions there. Did they spend too much? What are we doing? Are we getting a little bit out of hand? GM in their arsenal of new products don't have a lot coming out, so I think it'll be interesting to see how they're going to, weather the next few months. It may be a situation where they have to go back to incentives to move the metal.
All right, hey, Jessica, thanks so much for joining us. Jessica Caldwell there from Edmunds talking cars. Speaking of